Is there a more slept-on character in Family Guy than Tom Tucker? Even Seth MacFarlane is begging you to ask him to do the voice instead of Stewie for the 1 billionth time. But the guy's been around from the very first episode, and through new partners and his life crumbling around him, he's managed to stay a consistent part of the show. And today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into his history, looking at some of his funniest moments, while also going through the times he actually played a pretty prominent role in the show. And like so many characters in the show, Tom Tucker made his very first appearance in Death Has a Shadow, albeit pretty briefly. As he can be seen reporting on the recall of dangerous toys Peter allowed to slip into the public.
It seems the Happy-Go-Lucky Toy Company of Quahog, Rhode Island has released several highly unsafe toy products into the retail market.
Not quite the self-centered, narcissistic newsman we'd come to know and love, but it's a start. It's actually kind of surprising to learn that Tom Tucker had a proper introduction into the show before the likes of mainstays like Quagmire and Cleveland, or even prominent side characters like Dr. Hartman or Seamus. It was made clear from the very beginning that Tom was going to play an integral part in the show, because somebody's got to tell you the news at the most convenient narrative-bolstering time. And a big part of Tom's character would be his relationship with his broadcast partner Diane Simmons. Their relationship can be a bit confusing at times, as it's mostly understood that the two absolutely loathe each other, but there might actually be a tinge of friendship there, as seen in I Never Met the Dead Man.
I'm the Lord Jesus Christ. Think I'll go get drunk and beat up some midgets. How about you, Diane?
Yep, just 2 rotten peas and a fairly spoiled pod. I guess there does need to be some sort of chemistry when you're going to be delivering the news with someone for years on end, and it seems like Tom and Diane are both mostly on the same page. Both are vapid, terrible people who think they're A-list superstars just because they happen to be on TV every day. So are criminals and freaks, but you don't see us giving them a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, do ya?
Those Chinese sure do like to spit, don't they? Well, Diane, that last report was so good, I think you deserve a spanking.
Oh yeah, then there's the flirting. It doesn't happen often, but they do seem to show some kind of morbid, twisted affection for one another. You may be wondering how two people who obviously hate each other could be romantically involved. But if you figure that one out, let the world know, because you may just fix the high divorce rate. Maybe they should be together though. That way, at least their craziness is quarantined from the rest of the dating market.
I don't think your wife would appreciate that.
Diane, that frigid old cow lives in Quahog. She can't hear a word I'm saying.
And as we move into season 2, we get to see more of Tom's relationship with his job and Diane. Tom isn't just some schmuck who sits behind a desk all day. Sometimes he's a boots-on-the-ground reporter, as seen in E. Peter Basunum, when he goes to report on the conflict between Pretoria and the United States.
I'm here at the Praetorian Front, where the U.S. has cut off electricity, water, and gas to the tiny 4-bedroom republic.
You won't find many anchors willing to brave the tough stories that are just a mile away from the station, but Tom is a brave cover of wars. A real Frank West. And Tom isn't above throwing himself into the front lines, no matter how dangerous they may be. Or how dangerous he makes them out to be off camera.
Oh my God, they've opened fire. Oh, it looks like things are getting very heated here. This is not a safe place to be.
I guess the guy would have a bright future as a Foley artist if this news reporter thing ever didn't work out. But there's some other aspects to his character we haven't touched on yet, like the fact that he's also a raging alcoholic, just like half this town. I think you kind of have to be a little drunk most of the time to be able to get through living in Quahog. But as we can see in Wasted Talent, sometimes he brings that habit of his on air.
What? Don't complain. This is actually making you look attractive.
But I guess he had a good reason to be doing that. This was the episode where the Pawtucket Brewery was giving away free tours to anyone who could find one of the 3 silver scrolls in their bottle of beer. He was already going to be drinking anyway, but now he has incentive. Though I guess drinking to forget he's in an unhappy marriage is usually incentive enough.
The final scroll has been recovered. The lucky recipient has declined to be interviewed for safety reasons.
But that was a lie, as he hoped to use his powers of the press to deter people from continuing to look so he could have more time. If we can't trust the news stations, who can we trust? Ants posting blurry or AI-generated pictures to Facebook as if they're a fact? There must be order! But in a brief moment of honor and humility, Tom admits to his lie and decides to seek ample punishment for himself live on air.
And as an act of contrition, I will now insert this carnivorous earwig into my brain.
A punishment that fits the crime, no less. You won't see many honorable moments from Tom Tucker in this list, but this is one of them. Godspeed, you champion of truth. May the earwig make you brain dead before you feel too much pain.
Oh God! It's eating out the back of my eyes!
And while Tom and Diane seem to mostly dislike each other, nothing brings them together quite like committing atrocities, like when they decided to kill and eat Trisha Takanawa during the apocalypse in Da Boom.
So what do you think, Diane? Can I cook or what?
Delicious, Tom. I guess we should be eating her with chopsticks.
Hey, we all handle the fall of modern civilization in our own ways. Some of us fall into a depression, others eat our coworkers. Who's to say what the actual right way to handle the apocalypse should be? It's a shame it took killing and eating their friend to get them to finally stop bickering, but what else can you expect from a couple of narcissists like them? But we get to see more of just how much of a jerk he can be in the kiss scene around the world, where Meg became enamored with him until she found out that not everyone is like how they appear on TV.
Hey kids, remember, Mr. T says, I pity the fool who does drugs.
Yes, we all know you're full of self-pity, Tom. But while we can easily see through Tom's charade of being an admirable person, Meg is completely smitten by him. Can you really blame her? It takes a lot of talent to walk that slow without the use of slow motion.
Better hurry up, Mr. Tucker.
I'm coming.
Breaking news can wait, I guess. Gotta Aura farm first. Meg falls so in love with him that she even starts to daydream about him while watching the evening news. Surely you can dream a little higher than a local TV anchor, Meg. Even a Z-list celebrity would be more understandable.
Hi, Meg. You know how cute I think you are.
It's probably the mustache. I get it. Most of the most attractive people in history had mustaches. Salvador Dali, Ned Flanders, Stalin, and now I guess Tom Tucker falls into the category. Maybe just keep your fantasies about him to the confines of your bedroom.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Awkward.
But it's this infatuation with Tom that drives Meg to apply to Channel 5's Young Anchor program, and she actually gets picked because she'll make Diane look better by comparison. Hey, a win's a win. But Tom's interview process is actually more rigorous.
Look at my mustache. Do you think it tickles women when I kiss them?
I don't know.
Wrong. The answer is only slightly.
Come on, man, that question was on the study sheet. Unfortunately, Meg's young broadcast partner ends up being Neil Goldman, who becomes insanely jealous of Tom when he learns Meg is pining after her. But I don't think Tom could tell the difference between Meg and a lamp.
I'm sorry, but there's a handsome man in my spoon. You'll have to come back later.
But Neil isn't going to stand for someone else trying to steal the girl who'd rather shoot him than kiss him. So he plans to get back at Tom by altering his coffee order. It's here we learn that Tom has a particularly weird coffee order. Good luck trying to order this one at Starbucks.
What the hell is in this?
Sweet and low. That's for trying to steal my woman.
Go back and bring it to me with urine in it like I asked.
To each their own, I suppose. It's super easy to see the a-hole side of Tom slipping through the cracks, but to make matters even worse, he decides the best first news story the kid should go and cover is a murderer holding somebody hostage on a roof. It's kind of like throwing a kid into the water and forcing him to swim. Only this water has sharks, jellyfish, and of course, a crazy guy with a gun.
You know, I think this would be a fine opportunity to give our interns some real-world experience.
At least he does somewhat of a decent job not showing how little he cares about their livelihoods. But later on, when it looks like Neil is going to jump off a building, all he really cares about is how they're going to present the moment on TV.
Hey, have that cartoon sound effect guy cue up the...
I can't tell if watching the news with sound effects would either make it better or more dehumanizing. I don't know, turning a death caught live on camera into a Wile E. Coyote sketch might just lose them some viewers. So while he's charming to some, eventually the veil gets lifted and Meg sees him for what he truly is. Just a psycho with a mustache. I think history's had enough of those guys. And if you give Tom enough time, he'll show you what a piece of trash he is without having to really look hard for the truth, like in Screwed the Pooch, where he gets caught on air with a little hired help.
Ah, I see my colleague Tom Tucker is already on the scene.
Who's that, baby?
This is actually a stellar case of undercover journalism. Tom knew a story would break at that shady motel, so he bought a bunch of beer and an escort with the station's money to get up close and personal to the action. At least that's probably what Tom is going to be telling his wife later.
Now I'm going back inside to have freaky with my with whom I still have 45 minutes.
And we actually get to see Tom's wife for the first time, as well as his freakish son Jake, in the episode North by North Quahog, where it's clear that they're all just one big happy family under that roof.
Can my wife, Stacy, get you anything?
Go to hell, Tom.
Already there, hun.
And that's kind of the last we ever see of her. We do know they divorced later down the line, but I've always wondered if she was able to bounce back after this. Jake, on the other hand, kinda hard to bounce back from a divorce and an upside-down face. No clue how he ended up with the latter, but knowing how much Tom likes to drink, I guess it isn't much of a mystery. And for a time, Tom seems to really care for the kid, not believing he could ever do wrong.
It's no concern of mine if it's turned his life upside down, Face. Jake's a good boy. Aren't you, Jake?
Yeah.
Then again, he probably thinks it's better to just live in ignorance of a problem rather than address it head on. But when he does address the problem, he makes sure the whole town knows about it.
The student has been sentenced to 200 hours of community service and is a very bad boy.
But Tom is also a very jealous man and does not like to be overshadowed, especially on his own network. We see this in Stewie Be Good when Peter's show What Really Grinds My Gears becomes more popular than him.
You know, we're looking for an everyman to rant about petty, nonsensical irritants to replace our Spotlight on the Middle East segment.
So Tom is actually the architect of his own downfall, as he's the one who recruits Peter to join the television team. The news could use a little variety after all. It's been a whole lot of bickering between Tom and Diane for who knows how many years, so a nice change of pace would be welcome.
I finally get my period.
Well, Diane, I'm sure you and your brother must be devastated by the loss of the two-headed offspring that might have been.
Then again, that's grade A television right there. It's a miracle Diane didn't kill Tom live on air way before she was written off. But while Peter's inclusion is at first a little niche add-on, his show soon starts to overshadow Tom's time in the spotlight.
remove my microphone.
Great job, Mr. Griffin.
Great job,
I
Peter.
love
Just
that. I mean,
terrific.
it really
Just
drives my gears
fantastic.
away.
This is why you can never afford to get too big for your britches. Just take your microphone off yourself, you child. I grew up my whole life taking off my own microphone, and I've never once asked for someone to do that for me. But if no longer getting treated like a baby at work is bad, things start to get even worse for Tom when Peter starts taking his reserved seats at restaurants. But there's always a reserved spot for local celebrities in the private booths.
This is totally unacceptable. How long are you going to be? I'm very hungry.
The guy in the toilet's already dissociating, so you already know it's going to be one of those bowel movements. The kind that kind of kills your appetite for food. Now that I think about it, I don't think there's a kind of bowel movement that makes me want to eat. But Tom doesn't want to put up with this any longer, so he tries to get Peter fired by having him mess up on the job.
Blah! Blah! Blah!
His tactics are so subtle that I don't even think the folks watching at home know that he's trying to ruin Peter. But the network executives definitely do, and they decide Tom is no longer worth the trouble, so they fire him.
Turn in your press pass and any other studio property.
I guess when you work for a news station, you're given an honorary mustache. Kind of feels like stolen valor to all the men who put in the work, don't you think? But Tom doesn't end up staying cold-lipped for long, as his reporting on Peter's baby and dog drunkenly driving into the bar earns him his job and his mustache back.
Did you miss Daddy? Did you miss Daddy? Oh, no, it's all right. It's all right. Oh, you're shaking.
Tom's a scumbag, but he does deserve to at least keep his mustache. There are some guys whose upper lips we aren't meant to see, and he's one of them. But while Peter screwed Tom out of a job, Tom would get back at him by, well, doing something similar to Peter's mother and Mother Tucker.
Good evening, I'm Tom Tucker, trying to get back on my feet after having my ass handed to me by my bitch of an ex-wife.
So Tom and Thelma both happen to be in the market for a new partner. Frances wasn't even dead at this time, but can you blame her for wanting to get out of there? After all, Frances doesn't have a mustache and all the interesting sensations that come with using it while in bed.
Holy crap! We'll have more on these new developments after this.
I guess good on Tom for being willing to swing for someone out of his age pool. It either makes him look very honorable or very desperate, but I'll let you decide which it is.
But let's go to Ollie Williams for the in-depth analysis. Ollie?
Ladies all!
Thanks, Ollie.
Peter is at first against this pairing, which, fair. I don't think anyone who's going to be filling in the role of your dad should be just as old as you. Dads are a lot more respectable when they're a few decades older than you. Then you get old enough to fight them and all that goes away. Sorry, am I trauma dumping again? Anyway, Peter comes to accept it eventually when Tom actually turns out to be a pretty stand-up dad.
I heard you like milkshakes.
Oh boy, do I!
Let's go get ourselves a shake, huh?
Yeah!
I guess there's never a wrong time to get a positive father figure. If everyone's happy, then why should we be against this family of two 40-year-olds and a 100-year-old? Just avert your eyes and try not to let the thought of them together slip into your mind. Unfortunately, the good times don't last as Thelma decides to just up and leave Tom and move on to her next potential man.
But I wasn't looking for anything long-term. I just needed someone to clear all the bats out of my plumbing.
Kinda sounds like something you'd hire a trained animal handler for, but who knows what kind of kinky things Thelma's generation were getting into back in medieval times. So this leaves Peter with just his new dad, for some reason. Tom could probably just go home, but I guess when you fail with one kid, you gotta do what you can to make up for it with another.
I hate you! I hate you! I want my mommy! Well, I'm the best you've got!
But Peter eventually wises up and realizes he's a grown, tax-paying adult. He doesn't need Tom to fulfill the role of father figure, especially when Tom has his own actual son he needs to be taken care of. I wouldn't even know where to look at Jake when talking to him.
I had a taste of what it was like to have a real father. I can't make him share his.
Well, all right, Peter. Come on, Jake.
And from here, we don't get a ton of progression in Tom Tucker's story or character, as in the next few seasons, he more or less just kind of fills out the world rather than being a prominent character. We do learn that he's the head counsel on the board of mustaches in McStroke.
What's the secret password?
Mustache.
All right, come on in.
You might be thinking that it seems silly to have a secret organization completely revolving around mustaches, but that's just the silly question a naked lip would ask. Don't worry, I'm right there with you. You'd think I was an Olympic swimmer with how hairless this body is.
That'll be all for today. Good mustache. Good mustache.
And we got to hilariously see Tom embrace the legalization of pot in Quahog in the episode 420, which makes the news a lot more chill.
Our top story, marijuana is now legal. Is now legal.
See? Sounds like a much more relaxed watch than the doom and gloom that's on the TV nowadays. Are there crimes or incidents you need to be aware of? Doesn't matter, man. Just unbutton that top button of your shirt and ride the high of blissful unawareness. The news will make it to you eventually. Probably. Maybe.
How's the weather look, Ollie?
Not too bad.
Right on.
But we would see the next big evolution in Tom's character later in Season 9 with the pivotal episode And Then There Were Fewer. This episode would permanently change up the dynamic of Tom and Diane, mostly because Diane would be outed as a murderer who tried to have Tom framed.
I originally wanted to be an actor, and I booked the lead role in Nightmare on Elm Street, but James Woods said, "No, don't bother, something else will come along."
I mean, he did get a role in another horror movie, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Tom's explaining his gripes with James Woods, who just wound up dead during a dinner in a big secluded mansion. It seems everyone had a reason for wanting Woods dead, and that was Tom's. I guess not having the legacy of being the burnt-up child killer really stuck with him.
You hear that? Hear that tone you're using? That's repellent right there.
So while the group of possible suspects is searching the house, they eventually find several more bodies and a bloodied murder weapon stashed in Tom's room. He never leaves the house without it. They think it's crazy, but just wait until you're stuck in a situation that really could have used a murder weapon.
You're not taking me anywhere, you podunk, quahog, redneck cop! Not you or anyone else in this damn town!
Fleeing when innocent isn't exactly a good look, Tom. Then again, they were going to arrest you and give you the electric chair regardless. This town has a quota for the amount of brains they need to fry a year. But Tom actually was innocent, as this is all just a long-winded scheme by Diane Simmons to frame him for the murders and get back at him for trying to have her replaced.
Tom began pushing Channel 5 News to replace me with a fresh young face, and he succeeded.
Yeah, unfortunately, the shelf life for women on TV was decided to be like 35, while men can keep doing it until they're old and gray. You know, she didn't wind up killing a bunch more people during this whole plot. I may have ended up on Diane's side. But I guess word gets out that Tom was innocent and he lives to broadcast the news another day. And Tom would end up getting a replacement anchor in the form of Joyce Kinney, who coincidentally is as old, if not a little older, than Diane was. If Diane were alive to hear that, she probably would have wished she just went ahead and killed Tom too.
Oh, I almost forgot, that little girl is still missing. Do we have a picture? We don't have a picture?
Glad to see his due diligence hasn't changed. But this change kind of comes with a downside, as Tom and Joyce don't nearly have the same chaotic and weird chemistry that Tom and Diane did. They're kind of just co-workers. Where's the fun in that? I need to hear how much they hate each other. I need to hear how they subtly want to sleep with each other. This passive nature to their relationship has, in our opinion, been a pretty big downgrade for Tom's character, though the show has tried to keep him as a prominent side character through the years. And Tom would get another big break in the episode Tom Tucker, the Man in His Dream, where Peter would help him achieve his dreams by becoming his Hollywood agent.
I haven't seen you in a mask since you went under the stage name George P. Wilbur.
Oh, ho, ho, Joyce, you know we don't talk about that on the air.
I can understand why. George P. Wilbur is a terrible stage name. Sounds like someone who'd be giving me a loan, not an acting masterclass. But Peter recognizes that name as the man who portrayed Michael Myers in Halloween 4, Peter's favorite movie. He might be in the minority on that opinion.
Good evening, I'm Michael Myers. I have enormous psychological problems, and I'm going to take them out on you.
I guess you'd be forgiven for never noticing that it was Tom Tucker, considering there's like 100 of these movies, and only about 2 good ones. That's my horror hot take of the evening. But things didn't carry out as glamorously for Tom, as after that, the only other gig he got was a bit part on The Cosby Show.
If you guys are a family, why are none of you the same shade of black? I was also out of my skull most of the time.
That's the trap a lot of actors fall into. You get one prominent role and suddenly you think you can start doing lines like you're a big shot. Gotta work your way up to that. It's still embarrassing either way, but people are willing to forgive the famous for being embarrassing, not one-time slasher actors. So Peter offers to represent Tom in Hollywood, and considering he's grown tired of local news, Tom agrees.
How do we do this?
You do nothing. You just sit back and let your agent knock on every door in Hollywood till he gets you an acting job.
Is that how this industry works? At what point do you get to start going to those masked parties? I heard the catering they have of those things is out of this world. Unfortunately, and this shouldn't come as a shock, Peter has no clue how to actually be a Hollywood agent.
Tom, who's the agent here?
You are.
And who's the actor?
Well, I am.
Wait, which one am I again?
It's easy to get confused when you're in the magical land of Hollywood. It's a world where a brewery worker can be convinced they could be an agent, a waiter could be a writer, and a toy from the 1980s could be the next big blockbuster movie. But I guess looking the part can be enough, as Peter actually gets approached about having Tom guest star on NCIS.
We need an actor for a small role that shoots tomorrow.
This is your man.
That's great! He's got just the look we're after.
Oh, really? Did you have wasted potential and past their prime on the casting call sheet? Doesn't matter because Tom lands the gig. So now let's see the powerful and moving acting ability Tom will be able to bring to the world of television and movies.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Ed Manzelli.
Good evening, I'm Ed Manzelli. What can I do for you?
He's really only got the one voice and cadence, huh? Well, who cares? At least he's working. Can't say that about everyone in this town. But Hollywood is a fickle mistress. You gotta watch your step, or pretty soon even dead guys will start taking your jobs.
Hey, knucklebutts!
James Woods!
But I don't understand it.
It's not too hard to comprehend. It's just a little Hollywood necromancy. If you have a contract with Disney, they won't let you die on them until that contract is up. And despite all the negative feelings Peter has about Woods, the freshly resurrected man does need an agent.
Hey, hold on now. You came out here to be my agent.
Tom, relax. I can take care of your boat.
I'm sorry, have you met James Woods? You need an entire platoon of National Guard soldiers just to keep that guy in line. Juggling the two of them is not all that easy, and eventually, Peter just decides to put more work into the star who's already a name.
About that meeting you set up with me and Heath Ledger, he never showed.
Very Joker of him. Just be lucky you didn't have a meeting with Jared Leto. You would have gotten some very weird gifts from this guy. And eventually, Peter realizes that he doesn't have the capacity to be carrying Tom around anymore, so he just decides to trim the fat.
Peter Griffin drops Tom Tucker as a client. You're dropping me as a client?
Yeah, I just heard it on the news.
That's Hollywood for you. They'll chew you up and spit you out. And the city is not equipped to clean up all the partially chewed actors now littering the sidewalks. But the same thing happens to Peter when James Woods fires him, so he's forced to return to Tom with his tail between his legs.
Well, I suppose your only crime is that you believed in me, and then stopped believing in me rather abruptly.
That'd land Peter 10 to 15 years if Tom went to the police, but I guess they can just let bygones be bygones. So Tom gives up on his acting dream for now and returns to a place where everyone already knows his name.
It's good to have you back here at half your original salary.
Still twice yours, Joyce.
But this wouldn't be the only time Tom would turn to Peter for help, as when Peter becomes the sole voice of what makes good television and ratings guy, Tom decides to ask for his help in figuring out what would make the news better.
Tom Tucker, what are you doing here?
Well, I heard you're the new Nielsen family. Just hoping you plan to watch the Channel 5 news.
So the Griffins get themselves a Nielsen box, which tracks what they watch and informs the network so it's worth keeping on the air based on that data. I guess Channel 5 News has kind of been on thin ice if they gotta go door to door to convince people to watch the news.
Is there anything we can do to make the news more appealing to you?
Maybe. I guess you could lose the mustache.
Are you sure that's a good idea? Some people just don't look right without their facial hair. I mean, look at George Lucas. He looks like that one host of the Great British Baking Show without his beard. Plus, Tom has that weird birthmark on his upper lip he probably should keep covered.
And that'll do it for us here at Channel 12 News. Make sure you turn those clocks ahead. Good night, St. Louis.
I guess sometimes you're just born into hard mode and you just gotta make the most of it. But hey, Peter's indicative of what the general public wants to see, I suppose. And he's got plenty of ideas on how to freshen up the news cycle.
Can you end each show by trying to pull start a very cold chainsaw?
Well, that shouldn't be a problem. All right, thank you for being so candid.
I guess that's to make Tom look less like a celebrity and more like an everyman, make him more relatable to his audience. I don't even think I know someone who owns a chainsaw, though. I thought those were only reserved for lumberjacks and cabins in the woods where all your friends get possessed by ancient demons. Maybe that's more of a common occurrence than I realized.
Oh, crap. Oh, come on. Let's go, Tom.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but Tom's willing to try new things to stay relevant to the changing times, so I kind of respect his tenacity. We've been saying for years how local news has been needing more meerkats, so I'm glad someone finally wised up and made the change.
A 4-passenger prop plane on its way to East Hampton spun into the surf off Montauk Point. There were no survivors.
But let's not act like Tom hasn't done some weird stuff on the air before, like when he decided to show that he kept that thing on him in Farmer Guy.
And just to put it out there, Tom Tucker is packing. I drive a 2006 Infiniti and I don't intend to lose it.
I mean, with a car as nice as that, you'd have to pry it from my cold dead hands too. Although maybe it wasn't the smartest idea to tell people what you have in the event they do want to steal it. Real Iron Man 3 logic there. And Tom also has a tendency of being one-upped by pretty much any other news source, like what we see in Thanksgiving when he has to contend with news channels 2 and 6 getting better accommodations than them.
A mysterious awning shortage ravages the Northeast, but miraculously has not affected channels 2 or 6.
So it sounds like 5 is ranked 3rd and 2 and 6 are ranked 2nd and 1st. Does that make sense? I can get the chart out if you need it. I guess it's not much of a surprise that Channel 5 News isn't regarded as one of the better stations in Rhode Island, as Tom is constantly pointing out the budget cuts and shortcomings of the station. Maybe if he toned down the diva attitude, people would actually want to give them more money. I think Tom just actually enjoys the whining and complaining.
Well, viewers, to top it off, that's the Channel 5 News van you're hearing. Phil, just open it. Unlock the doors.
But Tom would realize that he'd have to change up his style to survive in the news space when a hotter and younger anchor threatens to take his place in the new adventures of old Tom.
We now go live to the newest member of the Channel 5 news team, Dallas Portland.
So Channel 5 gets itself a new young news anchor who immediately makes the ladies crazy for him. And no mustache required either. He's got that new age handsomeness to him. He could read me the death toll of interstate crashes any day of the week.
I'm here in his studio above the Petco to see if I want a namaste for the whole class.
Seeing all the women in town, including his own wife, fawning over the new guy really puts Peter down in the dumps. But at least all that's happening to him is his wife thinking about Dallas in bed. Tom's the one who really has it rough, as he feels like he's being pushed out by the new hotshot.
Since he arrived, our ratings have skyrocketed. They're grooming Dallas, which means I'm on my way out.
Different kind of grooming than you may be thinking, guys. The kind that gets you prepared to take on a new job, not the kind that gets you canceled with a very long Google Doc posted to Twitter. So it sounds like having Dallas on TV is a net negative for both men, so they decide to band together to try and find a way to stop him.
Well, if he's the hot young thing and everybody loves him, all we gotta do is make you hotter and younger and thinger.
Because there's nothing more attractive than a man rejecting his age and desperately trying to appear young again. Look, once you get to that age, you gotta accept the wrinkles, the gray hairs, and you gotta stop wearing your baseball cap backwards and carrying a skateboard over your shoulder. To Peter's credit, he at least actually tries to get Tom to use the skateboard.
All right, Tom, if you want to be young these days, you gotta do a wicked awesome GoPro skate video.
Not gonna lie, Tom sure does know how to shred. Is that what they call it? Shredding? I'm 108 years old in case you couldn't tell. Maybe he can be the new Tony Hawk if the broadcast thing doesn't work out. Or would he be the old Tony Hawk? I don't know how old that guy is. He kind of transcends time and space for me. But Peter wants to push even farther, turning Tom into a straight-up caricature of millennials.
Good evening, Quahog. I'm Dallas Portland.
And I'm T. Homie, with the news in your mouth!
Yeah, I don't think I consented to having the news in my mouth. I barely like getting it in my eyeballs. But I guess no one told Tom or Peter that most millennials actually hated these kinds of guys, even back in the day. The Jersey Shore got a lot of views in the same way a beheading video got a lot of views. Morbid curiosity to see the darkest parts of humankind.
News bomb! I know what you're thinking, right? He's so random.
Remember that kid in school who would just say things like pancakes randomly and some people thought that was the funniest thing ever? That's who Tom's trying to emulate here. Except for the part where he tries to give himself a tattoo on the bridge of his nose. That might just be original, unique insanity.
What's wrong with you, Dallas? Never seen a guy so young and cool before? Tumblr!
Well, I wasn't buying it at first, but then he gave a shout out to Tumblr, so now I'm on board. But this little stunt actually ends up getting Tom relieved of his duties, leaving him with plenty of free time to live in his bathrobe and slippers 24/7.
I'm washed up. Everyone saw what I did. And besides, I can't do anything else.
Hate to agree with you, man, but you might be right. We did get a taste of your acting ability. Some people are just born and bred to do one thing and one thing only.
This just out, me!
That happened? Is that for real? That's nuts.
Real or not, it does kind of illustrate the predicament Tom is in now. You do one thing for most of your life, and it's pretty hard to move on from it. We all get replaced eventually. For some of us, it's hot younger stars. For others, it's a machine. So what I'm really getting at here is we need to destroy all AI and hot people. But it sounds like Tom doesn't want to fight the good fight.
Oh my god! Look! Up on the roof!
Just let the man depressingly spit off the top of the roof. I think he's earned that by now. Peter tries to keep Tom from jumping, but when Dallas shows up to cover the story, Peter flips it by saying he's the jumper and he'll only speak to the best newsman around. Kent Brockman wasn't available, so Tom Tucker will have to do.
Tom was just trying to talk me down. And if there's a news story here, the only one I'm giving it to is Tom Tucker.
And this manages to be Tom's saving grace, reaffirming his reputation in the eyes of the public and, in a way, saving his life. Hopefully Tom made the most of those last few moments.
Ah! Pigeon! It's fine, he landed on people.
But this wouldn't be the last time Peter and Tom collaborated, as they would once again share the news desk when Tom decided to recruit him after Peter's hair turned white in hefty shades of gray.
So, how'd you get white hair again?
He was scared of a ghost.
Yes, I remember hearing about this in mid-school.
So Peter actually makes the most of this new look, being seen as astute and dignified just because he's got a little gray hair. The Bible does say that gray hair is a sign of wisdom. What does it say about being a morbidly obese psycho? Anyway, Peter later runs into Tom, who's in his natural state of being drunk and sad at the bar.
Hey, Tom, you okay?
She left me. Another sign from the universe that I'll never find love.
Oh great, gotta reel this guy back in before he delves into full-blown incel territory. You're never too old to go down that rabbit hole. Actually, yes, you are. Log off and touch grass once in a while. But Peter manages to reassure him, which clues Tom into Peter's distinctive aura.
You know, we've got an opening at the station for a senior analyst. I think your white hair would be perfect for it.
They say blondes have more fun, but it's the platinum blondes who get all the job offers. I knew I was doing this job hunting thing all wrong. But what exactly does a senior analyst do?
You just act like everyone else is an idiot and shout over them. That way you
Shut up, I get it!
Wow, I've been around so many senior analysts my whole life and didn't even realize. What a world we live in. So Tom brings Peter on board, and for his first appearance on the news, they decide to discuss local crime.
Peter, what are you hearing about crime in Quahog?
Not much.
Well, that's not gonna do. If people aren't fearing for their lives every waking moment, how else are they gonna be convinced to tune into the news? So Tom takes Peter behind his seductive hand fan to have a little chat with him.
People want to know that bad stuff's going on out there. That's why they watch the news.
You want me to make stuff up?
I mean, that's kind of a requirement to be a part of a national news organization, isn't it? Just fudge some numbers, extrapolate on some trends, and soon enough you'll have a Pulitzer Prize on your hands.
Now, you were talking about crime.
Crime is way up. And you know why? Because they're immigrants.
So Peter continues this trend of exacerbating the facts to make everything sound much worse, and because he's got gray hair, people tend to believe him. I guess you can't be too surprised to learn that all Tom cares about is his ratings. Ratings and mustaches. Ratings and mustaches and that bottle of whiskey he keeps under the desk.
Peter Griffin, white hair, very credible. Thank you so much.
And you may not know this, but Peter and Tom actually go way back. Tom was actually the one to nearly marry Lois before Peter managed to step in and change the course of history, as seen in Peter and Lois's wedding.
My father had planned out my whole life for me. He wanted me to marry one of Quahog's up-and-comers.
And one of those people who happened to be both up and coming was Tom Tucker. Peter tries to propose to Lois, but he quickly learns that Tom is beating him to the punch. It sounds like Peter had to be way more up and way more coming than that. Those are rookie numbers, man. You gotta get those numbers way up.
I'm already engaged to Tom Tucker.
Passed over for Tom Tucker.
Don't feel bad, Peter. What can you really expect when competing against a future local celebrity? It'd be like going against the gods themselves. But can you really blame Lois for saying yes to Tom Tucker? Just look at the style, the panache, the pageantry. If you're not looking for a guy who looks like he's spending exuberant amounts of money on crypto, then can you really say if you're doing this whole dating thing right?
In other news, President Clinton sent me a congratulatory cigar, but it's a little moist.
That's why you always want to make sure you tell people to stick to the wedding registry. Otherwise, you end up with gifts like that. And they come very close to getting married, making it all the way to the wedding ceremony before Peter dramatically jumps through the window to make the save.
Do you, Lois, common denominator Peter Schmidt, accept this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?
We never really got to see how Tom felt about all that, but I guess he managed to bounce back at some point, settle down with a woman he'd grow to hate, and help give birth to a child with an upside-down face. So who's really to say who lost out the most in this scenario? And what you may not know about Tom Tucker is that we've actually seen many of his family members on the show. The episode Trump got revealed he has a twin brother who reports on the news in Washington, D.C.
Good afternoon, I'm Tim Tucker, not my twin brother Tom.
So does he just start all of his news broadcasts with that little clarification? And if so, how many people in DC realize what he's even talking about? I guess that's just one of those little in-jokes for the 5 people who happen to be in the know.
Mentally challenged boys t-shirts. Are they getting even longer?
And we've even seen Tom Tucker's father, Tom Tucker Sr., in The Movement, where Tom invites him to present the news with him.
Channel 5's own Tom Tucker Sr., who hasn't been on the air since 1964.
Judging by the type of news he decides to deliver, I'd believe this guy's been kept in suspended animation since 1964. This guy just hasn't been clued into what you can and can't say in this day and age, especially on television. The drinking whiskey on air bit is a nice touch though. Maybe we can bring that back.
More and more women are choosing to work outside the home. I call them.
And that's a wrap for Tom Sr.
But it seems like Tom Tucker's mother is much more of a pleasant personality, as she even shows up to the station to feed a sick Tom soup and fecal matters.
So for the rest of tonight's broadcast, my mommy will be spoon-feeding me chicken soup. Mommy?
Tommy?
I'm kind of split on this. On one hand, it's nice to see a mother still maintaining that sense of caring for her son even when he's a grown man. On the other hand, he's a grown man. I've met a lot of older people who never had their umbilical cords cut, and they're insufferable. Tom definitely gives hardcore mama's boy energy, and it's that constant babying that might have turned him into the diva we know today. So where is Tom Tucker at now? I mean, he's in Quahog, we know that, but where is he at as a character? Well, Tom hasn't had too many moments in the spotlight for the past few seasons. It could be that the writing team sees him as the best fit for delivering story information on TV, or maybe it's because they just don't know where to take the character. He's definitely not the show's only bitter, narcissistic drunk, so who knows what you can really do with a character like this. But I like Tom. His being a local celebrity who believes he's more important than anyone else is a good character archetype, so hopefully the showrunners can find more for him to do in the future. But for now, that's all the time we have. Good night, and good luck. Close us out, Tom.
Well, folks, that's the news, and I am out of here.
And that's our video. Have any other characters you want us to do some deep dives into? Let us know down in the comments, and if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more great Family Guy videos.